We have Paphiopedilum sanderianum, which is also highly prized. And this is the painting and also the real picture of it. So this particular species, Paphiopedilum sanderianum, has been used as the mother plant for many hybrids because people wanted to look at the long petals or the side petals that can reach up to 2 feet 8 inches in length. The cut flowers is another commercial value for orchids. Okay, here are some examples that I have shown you at the auditorium today. So these are the Dendrobiums and also the Vanda, Mocara, and so on. These are all hybrids. Okay, I cannot afford to give you all the species. Cattleya hybrid and also the Vanda hybrid. So this is Vanda Miss Jaquim on your right. So that is a national flower for Singapore. Then we have the Mocara, hybrid of Mocara, and also the Dendrobium hybrids. Okay. Traditional medicine, everybody will talk about when it comes to plants, people will ask, is there any medicinal value to orchids? So I normally tell people, yes, they do. So this is one example, Gastrodia elata. Okay, normally this is introduced by the Chinese, actually, because the Chinese are very good in medicinal plants. Okay, so this Gastrodia elata, they collect all the testicles, the tubers, and they dry it and they make it into various kinds of medicine. Put it in capsules, put it in liquid, and also put them in cream. So that is actually the uses of Gastrodia elata. It is meant for tonic and well-being for men. Okay. And then we have this species that was found in Malaysia, which is also the one that is in middle is actually called Hancing Ali. Why it is known as Hancing Ali? Because it was believed that the roots, when the dried roots are boiled, you can drink the roots for disease that related to your bladder. So they use that that's why they call it Hancing Ali. And it's really smelly. The moment you pull it out, it smells like urine. So I think that's the reason why they call them Hancing Ali anyway. But mind you, many trees are known as Ali Ali and Fatimah Fatimah. I don't understand why. Until today, I also still understand why. Maybe most of the bomoh last time among the Malays are either named Fatimah or either named Ali. I have a student called Siti Fatimah. Orang Melaka, selalu ada nama orang Siti Fatimah, orang Melaka. Okay, then we have the Kalante, Triplicata. So those plants here that I showed you, there's not all that are having with medicinal value. There are so many. I just pick out one or two that probably will entice you further into knowing orchids. So these are as food. Okay, these are Mediterranean and also the the temperate orchids. They are most of them, all of them are actually terrestrial orchids. The highest number of terrestrial orchids is actually found in the subtropics. The tropical ones are all epiphytics, mostly epiphytic. 80% of the orchids found in the tropical rainforest are actually epiphytics. So these 4 species here are known to have produced bulbs, produce roots or tubers that are edible. Very high in minerals. Okay, and then of course flavoring. Everybody knows vanilla. I think up to now also maybe there is still somebody who asks, where does that vanilla come from for the ice creams, vanilla ice cream, vanilla cake? So this is it. It comes from vanilla, from the genus called vanilla, and the one that is being commercialized is Vanilla planifolia. Okay, then we have one potential one, Vanilla griffithii, the one that on the bottom. And we the newly identified species that I discovered a year ago, or actually discovered 5 years before that, but published last year. This is Vanilla sanguineo vanosa. Why is it so difficult? Why must put a sanguineo vanosa? It is because you look at the leaf, okay, there are red veins. So it is a translation into Latin to make it, Latinize it into sanguino venosa. Venosa veins, sangui, something reddish. Okay, so this vanilla is very important. If you like ice cream, vanilla very much, so this is what it come from. It's not from the extract of the vanilla, but it's actually from the vanilla seeds that has the flavors. Okay, other uses, of course, ornamentals. Okay, we have the Belina, which is the Sarawak national flower. And then we have Iridis, which is very, very fragrant. Okay, Belina and also Violacea are both fragrant orchids. Okay, all these orchids are actually produce nice fragrance. So therefore, the perfumes are actually extracted from them. As for Belina, we have in the market now the perfume called Belina itself. So the discovery journey into the wilderness. Why is it wilderness? Because I learned and study wild orchids. Not the wild in character, but the wild in growth, because they are growing wild in the jungle. So I managed to cover many parts of the country, especially Peninsular Malaysia, because I have very good access to Jabatan Perhutanan Semenanjung, and they'll give me permits to go to the jungle and to study all the orchids, but not in Sarawak unless I have but currently I have a very good relationship, my own classmate with my own bedmate in the roommate. Puan Runi is actually now the deputy director, which is now a director for research in Sarawak with the Sarawak Forestry Department. So I have easy access now, so I can cover Sarawak already. And then I managed to go to the highest top of the mountain in Peninsular Malaysia, which is Gunung Tahan, in 4 days, day and night, walking at least 13 kilometers per day. And apart from that, Gunung Sarut in Terengganu, one of the coolest peak in Terengganu, which is about 10 to 15 degrees at night. Okay, and also the Ulu Langat and Gunung Sarut as well in Setiu, and to Sabah, and also to Sarawak in the interior of heart of Borneo. And of course, my backyard, Genting Highlands. I always go to this spot to look at the orchids. And of course, in Cemerong in Terengganu. So the discovery is not that easy without the help of many people. Okay, not to mention the money that is needed, the funds that is needed, but the people that is helping me to look at this, and the mentors and my co-workers and all. Okay, I have met a very good, I have befriended people like the top orchid people in the world, like Professor Mark Chase and Dr. Mike Fay in Kew, and I'm able to work with them during my sabbatical in 2014. So most of the things that we look into at that point of time is the DNA barcoding. So that is the next thing that is going to in orchids. And then I have friends like Professor Lee Nam-suk from Korea, and also Chris from China in Kunming. He is a breeder of orchids, and he wants to venture into wild orchids, growing now. And of course, Dr. Barry Kohn from Selby Botanical Gardens, and my mentor and my friend, Professor Emeritus Dr. Latif Muhammad, and he's here today. Thank you, Pote. I always call him Pote. And then, of course, with Professor Higgins from Selby Botanical Garden, and my friends and co-worker in Kew, Dr. Rohia and Dr. Nobi. And there's so many others I cannot mention. I have people in Australia, Dr. Kingsley Dixon. You can see all those people that are associated with me in my work of orchids inside my inaugural book. So that's why the inaugural book is about 100 pages. There's so many things to say. Okay. When you talk about diversity, now I'm going into Malaysia per se. Malaysia per se means that is all the orchids that are found in Malaysia. I haven't covered all of them. I probably touched about 30% of it. Okay, Malaysia land mass is mere 340,000 kilometers square. So this particular area, mind you, has the species more than 3,000. And most of these species found in Kinabalu, more than 2,000. almost 2,000 found in Kinabalu. About 16% of the world's total species is found in Malaysia. With a small country like ours, no doubt that we are the biodiversity hotspots, and therefore it is this particular figure contribute to that particular idea of Malaysia being the biodiversity hotspots. And more than 20% are endemic, that means only found in Malaysia. And out of these, 40% of them are flagship species, very beautiful. The word flagship here are beautiful orchids. So here I presented one of the beautiful, what you call it, Dendrobium, named after our VC, Dendrobium Ainie. And of course, my student said that they need to honor me as well. So they gave me one more Dendrobium called Dendrobium Rusea. So that those, you ask me, why is it so funny, the names? Okay, my husband always asks me, why can't you just put simple names? I said, cannot, because I have to follow the nomenclature rules. I have to put it in a Latin manner and Latinize my name, become Rusea. Study method, very simple. I don't need all those heavy machineries. I don't need all those equipments to check any whatever things that is in the forest. All I need is plastic bag, a machete, a skatier, and some spirit. That's it, enough. This particular sample, I name it myself as opportunistic sampling method. Opportunity, when you find them, you collect them. You cannot put a plot when you study orchids. You might not find in your plot, you say, oh, I want to put a plot here. You might not find any orchids inside that plot. So therefore, you have to go around walking randomly in the forest, and if you are lucky, you found them. So that is opportunistic. And the method is very simple. I identify a location, okay? I visit the location, I did the sampling, and identify the plants, and then I wrote a manuscript, and finally I publish. So that's the rule of thumb, we must publish or you perish. So therefore, in my study, I don't need a sophisticated machineries to identify my orchids. I just need my 2 eyes and my 2 spectacles, and sometimes with light microscope. Okay? So the location of my study locations are many, all around Malaysia. Okay, I choose to learn to segregate my research into forest types. Okay, I studied the limestone forest first, then I studied the peat swamp forest, the heath forest, the montane forest, and the hill forest. All these different forest types will have different kinds of, or different types of species in the area. Collecting trips is sometimes very interesting as well. Okay, so this is my Gunung Tahan team. Okay, my students, there are more ladies and men. Okay, so we raised the stream. There are 13 streams to cross before you reach the peak of Gunung Tahan. This is Imbak Canyon in Sabah. We have to go through the swelling river. This is Baliau Basin Expedition in Sabah. And of course, sometimes we have the luxury, what you call it, from the Yayasan Sabah. They are very rich, so they give us a helicopter ride to our site. Okay, apart from that, I will be going with a few students of mine to many parts of in Malaysia for collecting. I don't need a big team, so all I need is sleep in a hammock. Okay, then I found all these beauties. Okay, the reward is that when you found something like this, okay, when you look at these orchids here, you can find this kind of thing is really a reward. Not all the time you will see orchids more than 5 at one spot, but there are more than 20 plants blooming at one time at one spot. And some of it actually just wanted to bloom, and some are already dried out. That is in Gunung Sarut. And then these are my team. Okay, so of recent years, I have more guy students than ladies to do orchids. Let me bring you into all the forests that I have been to. the collection that I have done and all the orchids that I've identified in that particular forest types. So for here, the PM there, Peninsular Malaysia, peat swamp forest, they are aged more than 200,000 years old. And the peat is actually more than 4 meters deep. Okay, they're very susceptible to environment changes. And also the loss of habitat means the loss of specific orchid species. In this kind of forest, there are species that are endemic only or restricted to that kind of forest. So therefore, if that forest is destroyed, the orchid is also being destroyed. And then we have this is Sungai Bebar in Pahang, and Selidak Bentangor, my backyard and my hometown. So this is a mangrove forest. And of course, this is Tasik Berombak in Sentiu, Terengganu. Anybody that's from Terengganu don't know that this thing exists, it exists. Tasik Berombak, and it's always clear blue water. In peat swamp forest, my team discovered or recorded 152 species altogether. These are some of the species. We have aranid, we have the Phalaenopsis, and this is Papilionante hookeriana. We call it Kinta weed because there are plenty in Kinta Valley. And also, of course, is the Bulbophyllum. And another Bulbophyllum. Bulbophyllum, they have very different many characteristics and many shapes of flowers and also colors. So this is one of them with a circle array of, and this is another one. It's the same section, okay? All together, okay. So there's another one that's in a bunch. When you see a flower in a bunch like that, that means the flowers are small. So don't ask me how do you make it so big like that. Of course, it's through the lenses. So I expand it that way. So all these plants, sometimes the plants are big flowers, some are small. And of course, on your right is actually the Grammatophyllum speciosum, the giant orchid or the tiger orchid, which is actually common in the swamp forest. And then another terrestrial orchids, which is also found not only in the swamp forest, but also in the hill forest, which is Nephelophyllum. That looks Nephelophyllum speciosum. The leaves is actually brown in color, the same like the forest floor, and the flowers a slight tinge of pink. And then we have another species called the Trichotosia, which is very hairy. And of course, the Cymbidium finlaysonianum. In Sarawak, we call that orchid jamban, because it always grows on all time ago. We have jamban outside our house. Maybe all the new ones, the new generation never saw that kind of jamban before. So the toilets are actually outside the house. So normally these orchids will grow there. And then of course we have the Procoglottis and another Bulbophyllum. Okay, then we go to limestone forest. This is one of the forests that I studied for a very long time because limestone is very difficult to assess. So here we did study in detail in Wang Klian Perlis, in Macincang Langkawi Kedah, and Padawan Bau Sarawak, and also in Mulu Sarawak. So all from this particular region, all this area, I come out with a start with orchids of Perlis, whereby here we discovered 139 taxa. Taxa means either species, genus, or subspecies. So there are 4 subfamilies, 64 genera, and 11 species are new records. During that study, we discovered that 11 species are actually new records. So this is one of the new records, Dendrobium hugii, and some of the area of Rusea, and the Gastrocilus hainanensis, only found in Hainan actually, but now found also in Perlis. Then another one is Gastrocilus obligus, and what's this? Trixpomum pensal, and also the Malaxis. And of course, this is the Malaxis. This is Ludicea. Okay, another bulbophyllum. Those are some of the orchids found in Perlis limestone. And not to forget, this is Dendrobium linguella, very striking when you go to the jungle, because it will have a lot of flowers in one bunch. And also the Dendrobium secundum, pink flash. And this is one of the most beautiful Habinaria found in Perlis. Habinaria carnea, my favorite color. Okay, and this one is Phalaenopsis miniata, very small flower, but it appears in a bunch, and Chrysostoma. Okay, so this is one of the flagship species found in Perlis, the Paphiopedilum niveum, the white slipper orchids. Species new record to Peninsular Malaysia as Gastroculus hainanensis and also Gastroculus obliquus. Okay, I don't know the Malay name. I only know the scientific name, whereby the scientific name is a universal name for all plants. And Sarawak limestone orchids. Limestone orchid in Sarawak, very, very interesting. There are about 235 species in 66 genera, 26 species endemic to limestone only, 16 species endemic to Borneo, 37 species new records to Sarawak, and 15 species new records to Borneo. So from that study that I did for the past 7 years to cover all this area in Sarawak, this is the count that we have. I have no doubt there are plenty more in the forest itself. So here is one of the spectacular slipper orchids, Paphiopedilum luyai, Paphiopedilum stonii, and also Sanderianum. So these are the two species that are very, very requires limestone area to grow. And of course, on your right is the Vanda Sanderiana, and on your left is Vanda Sanderiana, and on your right is actually Dimorphorchis. These particular orchids, okay, this one, it has two flower shapes on one spike. So therefore, it got its name called Dimorphorchis, because there are two morphological forms in one spike. And of course, this is the Anatoculus or Dosina, now currently known as Dosina marmorata, endemic to Pedawan and Bau. And also, of course, another bulbophyllum reticulatum, also endemic to Pedawan. And this is the Sarawak national orchid called the Phalaenopsis bellina. And also the Malaxis. And apart from that, we move on to montane forests. The montane forests, I studied many parts in Peninsular Malaysia. Montane forests are known as forests found to be on elevation more than 1,000 meters. So those are called montane forests. Therefore, the lower montane forest is 1,200 to 1,500 meters. Upper montane forest is whatever is above 1,500 meters. So here there are 5 locations that I studied. Okay, Maxwell Hill, which is also called the Piping Hills, and Fraser's Hill in Pahang, Genting Highlands in Pahang, Cameron Highlands in Pahang, and also in Gunung Jerai, Kedah. Okay, some of the things is actually not inside the thing. When you transfer from MAC to non-MAC, it becomes like that. Okay, the smallest and the oldest hill resort is actually what Bukit Larut famous for. Okay, and there's actually the resort has been there for the past 100 years, and the highest peak in Gunung Jerai is not Gunung Jerai, which in Bukit Larut is actually 1,448 meters, and they actually is situated in the Bintang Range. And in this mountain, we collected 29 species recorded as new to Bukit Larut, 6 species endemic to Peninsular Malaysia. These are some of the species that are found in Bukit Larut. Dendrobium roseum, not Rusea, Dendrobium roseum, roseus, and sometimes they call it roseus. And also the Dendroculum, Bromhidia, and Malaxis. And of course, the only Vanda found in Peninsular Malaysia, which is the Vanda helvola. And then we go on to another mountain forest, Genting Highlands, Gunung Ulukali is the highest peak in Genting Highlands, which is 1,700 meters tall. A temperature cold, 12 to 24 degrees centigrade. And the humidity is very high, up to 85%. Undisturbed forest until 1967. After that, it is considered as disturbed forest. And cloud forest is the summit region of the Genting Highlands is actually the cloud forest, where it's covered by clouds all the time. Okay, here we recorded 134 orchid taxa, 51 genera, 46 new records for Genting Highlands, and 29 species endemic to Peninsular Malaysia, 9 rediscovered. And orchids of Genting Highlands, there are some of them, Dendrobium rupicula. This is a new record. Okay, the plant is actually the flowers are bigger than the leaves per se. Okay, this is Hymenorchis javanica, previously endemic to Java, but when I discovered that in Genting Highlands, so therefore we break the record of it being endemic to Java. It's also found in Malaysia. So that is Hymenorchis javanica. And then, of course, this is the Dendrobium hasseltii, plenty in Genting Highlands. And slipper orchids, Paphiopedilum loei, and another Grammatophyllum stepiforum, the Dendrobium. Then this is Dendrobium heterocarpum, Dendrobium macropodum. This also another new records from Sulawesi, Dendrobium curucotilobum. So actually found only in Sulawesi, but now is also found in Genting Highlands. And these 5 cent orchids, the Corybus. I studied Corybus. I have a privilege to study Corybus per se, because I got a grant that is actually only to study Corybus. There are 2 endemic species here, the Corybus selangorensis and Corybus holtemii. So that particular 5 cent orchids are very beautiful, and they have their role in the in ecology, because if there is no mosses, there is no Corybus. So that is associated with the indicator as the for cold temperature. Orchids of Fraser's Hill is another area in the mountain that I studied. Fraser's Hill is known to have the highest peak with 1,500 meters. And there we recorded 247 species, 82 genera, and 5 subfamilies. That means all the 5 subfamilies of Orchidaceae found in Fraser's Hill. 92 species are new records to Fraser's Hill. 7 species are new records to Malaysia, and 4 species is to Peninsular Malaysia. It's getting very, when you talk like, you're trying to comprise something that you have done for 20 years is sometimes you have to, the words missing from what we wanted to say. So 80 species are threatened, because we did the evaluation of the status of the conservation status of the species. 80 species are threatened and 11 species are rare, considered as rare, according to IUCN Red List characteristics. Fraser's Hill house many beautiful orchids. This is the podium. And this is, what do you call this? Never mind. But it's a terrestrial orchids. So this one is actually a bulbophyllum. Macropodanthus. This particular species is very important because Ridley found it in 1911. That was the only record so far. But now we found it in the past. We found it in 2013. So it was rediscovered after 112 years. So rediscovery of Macropodanthus. And of course, the Dendrobium Canthrophyllum and the Taenia rayana. This is some of the rare and endemic species in Fraser's Hill: the bulbophyllum, the Anatochilus, the Corybus, another Corybus, and also the newly discovered vanilla norashikiniana, named after our Permaisuri Selangor. So that it was launched in 2017. Vanilla norashikiniana. And then in Cameron Highlands, I studied many years in Cameron. Studied the orchids for many years in Cameron Highlands. The highest peak will be 2,000 over meters. Temperature during the day is about 17 to 24 degrees, 17 at night. But previously it was recorded to be more like 10, about 20, 50 years ago. And here in Cameron Highlands, we recorded 238 orchid species from 80 genera. 21 are rare and 7 are endemic to Cameron Highlands. The endemism, or the only found in that area, is very specific because orchids requires a specific soil condition and also the environmental conditions. So therefore, endemism is very high among orchids. Major threat in Cameron is always the vegetable farming or clearing of illegally the forest, which has actually been gazetted as a permanent forest reserve, but they were being opened illegally to make way for vegetable farms. Okay, orchids of Cameron Highlands, there are some of the species, Acantiphyphium, striatum, and some of the Dendrobiums, Phaeus, and Corybas, and Paphiopedilums, and Dendrobiums. Okay, we continue with my journey into montane forest, the orchids of Gunung Jerai. Gunung Jerai is also known as Kedah Peak. It is an isolated mountain, okay, surrounded by paddy fields and also with kampongs. That's the only mountain you can see from far in Kedah. Okay, even from Langkawi you can see Gunung Jerai, and also from Penang you can see Gunung Jerai as well. Okay, there are 136 species found there, recorded. It's not per se 136, but we found only 136, 5 subfamilies and 65 genera, and 24 new records to Kedah, and 1 new species named after the current forest director of Selangor, Datuk Puat, is Corybas puati. Okay. Orchids of Gunung Jerai, there's some very notable and some beautiful species here. The Corybas, of course, this is Corybas geminigibus, only found in Gunung Jerai, but also found in Sumatra. In Malaysia itself, only found in Gunung Jerai. This is Corybas geminigibus. And we have Bulbophyllum sigaldiae. Very difficult to pronounce the name, but Bulbophyllum, I hope you all know what is Bulbophyllum because they have bulbs, the orchids that have bulbs. And of course, this is the Corybas called the Corybas puati. Then we go to Selangor, other forest types. Okay, Selangor has all the forest types in Peninsular Malaysia. They are about 8,000 kilometers square. Selangor is one of the biggest state. All major forest types is also available here. We have peat swamp forest, they have mangrove forest, lowland dipterocarp forest, hill forest, dipterocarp forest, upper hill dipterocarp forest, oak laurel forest, and montane ericaceous forest. These are all the types of forests found in Selangor. And therefore, the number of species found in Selangor is also very high for orchids. We found 273 species in 71 genera, and 5 subfamilies are represented in Perlis. One of the most notable, and I like this flower because it is always single but big flower, Bulbophyllum pileatum. And also endemic species called the Dendrobium Silogini Kaliana, not Dendrobium, this is Silogini Kaliana, named after Gunung Ulukali. And of course, the Dendrobium anosmum, also found here, Arachnis, and the orchids and the vanilla, Norashikiniana, also found in Selangor. And of course, this is another name that they said was named after me, but it is actually not. This is Cymbidium roseum. It's not. The reason why it's roseum because it is very rosy in color. So that's why it is called the Cymbidium roseum. And then we have the Calanthe and the Bulbophyllum and another Dendrobium, Bulbophyllum, Biphyrum. Only 2 flowers, that's why Biflorum. And orchids of Terengganu. This is one more forest that very interesting to study. And because there are many logging concessionaries in Terengganu, therefore discovery is very easy in Terengganu. So we did study on Breeze Hills Forest in Setiu and also in Dungun, Kuala Koh and Kenyir Lake area, logging area in Terengganu. Those are the areas that I have visited so far in Terengganu. And from there, with a collaboration with my avid naturalist, Mr. Dom Nikong, in Terengganu, he normally collects all these orchids and asks me to identify. And then we have identified 365 orchid species altogether, 124 species of recorded new to Terengganu, and one is new record to Malaysia. And of course, out of that, 9 new species has been described, because it is very productive. Collection is very easy in the logging area in Terengganu. The rescue mission. So this is how he did all the rescue mission on motorbike and on his 2 legs. Bus nomor 11. On his 2 legs, so he collect all these orchids. And once it's blooming, he will ask me, what are the species. Now he is a better, I think it's a very good, what you call it, taxonomist already in terms of orchids. And this is how they collect from the logging concessionaries. You collect by the tons, because if you leave them there, they will die. So better collect whatever you can find, whatever is alive. And normally I will also follow them to the forest. So it's a normal thing for us to walk for 10 hours or 8 hours in the jungle. Nothing follow us, Prof. Iqbal, no worries, because we say goodbye to them before we leave. Okay, so he, being an avid naturalist, he built on his own effort, with his own money, a wild orchid conservatory for Terengganu. So he named it Wild Orchid of Terengganu ex situ conservation. So he collect all these from the logging concessionaries and put them in behind his house. Very nice and well kept place. So one of the botanical garden, probably UPM is put on shame for what he's doing in Terengganu, because he has a very nice collection and he make it so beautiful and people can visit his place. Okay, so that is Dom. Every day, almost every week, he was in the jungle. So he's called another name. I will call him another jungle man. Okay, so these are some of the species that we are able to collect in Terengganu. They are all beautiful orchids. I am not going to show you, to tell you every single species of them. So, but those are the things I hope you enjoy looking at them. And some of the Dendrobiums, the Phalaenopsis, and of course the Phalaenopsis as well, and the sleeper orchids. So Dendrobiums of Terengganu, he come up with this a poster called Dendrobiums of Terengganu, Bulbophyllums of Terengganu, so that people can easily recognize them in the wild. All the scientific names is also provided in this kind of these posters of his. Critically endangered. Why we call them critically endangered? Because we have a means to look at the status of each species. So orchids conservations and orchid threats in Malaysia is nothing new. As long as they are plants, there are threats to them, because the most of the wild plants is actually in the jungle. So jungles has been locked, they've been open, reforestation, and so on and so on. So that is one of the major threats. When the forest is gone, the orchids also gone. Some of the species will never survive after the forest has been cut down. So these are the critically endangered orchids in Peninsular Malaysia. One of it is Corybas holtermii, an endemic species. The Bulbophyllum babatum, not Bulbophyllum. This is Typhopetalum, sleeper orchids. Chrysostoma, and also Dipodium. So from that, from all the studies that I have done for the past 20 years with my students, there are 167, all of them, altogether, the undergrads, and about 47 or 67 postgraduates, I lost count. That's been with me in the jungle, in and out. Okay, we discovered 25 new species altogether. 11 are orchids. So the new species is then the Vanilla Norris-Ishikinaina, launched in 2017, and also Vanilla sanguineo bonosa, also published in 2017. And of course, I will have a privilege to go to the Istana, the palace, to meet the Queen. So to present to her the painting of the newly discovered species and named after her. And another one is Corybus puati, found in Gunung Jerai. Okay, so the new species. And another new addition is for Sultan of Terengganu, Sultan Mizan. So this is the Dendrobium found in Terengganu itself, named it after him, Dendrobium mizanii. Just is already published in Phytotaxa Journal of Botany. And the new species also, we have another Bromhidia petuangensis. Petuang is a name of a place in Terengganu. So this Bromhidia is found in Petuang. So therefore, we have to give them a Latin name called Petuangensis. Latinize the name of the place, Petuang, to become Petuangensis. So that is Bromhidia petuangensis, will be published soon in Pakistan Journal of Botany. I hope I'm not making you sleepy, yeah? Am I? The new species continues. So this is one of the most beautiful one among all the Dendrobiums that I've seen. So this is named after our VC, Dendrobium ainee. So that is the painting. You can see all these paintings being displayed behind. So please feel free to appreciate them. And of course, this is my Dendrobium, Dendrobium Rusea, and the paintings. And apart from looking into the wild species, I also ventured with a partner in Kedah to look into new hybrids. This was done about 15 years ago. And finally, after 10 years, we come out with one stable breed. So these new hybrids, this is one of the new hybrid, is named after the former Permaisuri Agong, launched in 2015. And it's named as Dendrobium Tuanku Hamina Royale. So when you look at the name there, you know it's actually a hybrid, because the way we give them the name, the way we write the name is different from the wild species name. So that was the plant that I presented to her during the launching of Floria 2015. And that is our VC, the pengarah of Coscom then, who support me during the launching. And that is how it looks like. So it's a very beautiful hybrid actually, and flowering all the year round. So it's not something that you can avoid not seeing the flowers. Papers and books that have been published. I have published 12 books, as Prof. Iqbal mentioned earlier, and 9 of that is from wild orchids. And 253 scientific papers have been published, some short, some long, some even about 78 pages altogether, only on one paper. So some people can produce 10 papers from that 78 pages, right? So these are the books that I have published. We co-wrote with my students and my co-workers. The Orchids of Perlis, that is the proceed from the study that I did in Perlis. And also I wrote a book for Orchid of Selangor, Orchidea selangoriana, Wild Orchid of Selangor, also written through the studies that I did with my postgraduate students. And the Lost Jewels of Terengganu, Wild Orchids of Terengganu, this is in the process of printing now. And Enchanted Orchids of Fraser's Hill, a pictorial guide, also now in press. I don't have the copies back there. And Orchids of Pit Swamp Forest, this particular orchids was sponsored by the UNDP that time in 2007, when I was doing my sabbatical, my first ever sabbatical in 2007. I wrote this book called The Orchids of Pit Swamp Forest. And of course, the recently published book, Sarawak Limestone Orchid Forest, the Sarawak Limestone Forest Orchids, okay, that was just published and yet to be launched. So this is co-wrote with my classmate and my roommate, Runi Sylvester Punggak. She is able to fly in from Kuching today to be here with me, to support me. Thank you very much, Runi. And Discovering the Wonders of Malaysian Orchids. This is also in the final press now. This is actually the revised version of the previously launched in 2015. Okay, half of the book is actually being, the earlier version was only 87 pages, now it's 150 pages. So this is a new revised edition we published in 2019. And of course, the orchids of the montane forest in Peninsular Malaysia that's published by Penerbit UPM. Okay, among all these orchids here, there are books here, 8 books here. 1, 2, 3, 4 will be published this year, 2019. Okay, it's not something that I do overnight, but it's something that I have been accumulating for the past 20 years. So I managed, these are the years where I decided to publish all in books form so that everybody that is the later generation can enjoy whatever is there, has been recorded, and at least to see, at least to enjoy the pictures if they can't enjoy the living plants. Okay, and apart from being a taxonomist using the classical manner approach, I did venture into orchids DNA barcoding with my affiliation with the Kew Botanical Garden. So this, from this study, I have deposited at least 136 accessions into the gene bank, whereby people can access the gene bank and look into and use it for either for classification or identification of plants species. And all the genera that I have studied is actually has been deposited are the Corybus, Dendrobium, Bulbophyllum, and also Paphiopedilum altogether. And we use these markers, MITK, ITS, TRNH, PSBHA, and RBCL. So these are the terms of genetic terms, so which I don't want to elaborate upon. In conclusion, okay, let me conclude about the 20 years of work. Okay, orchid diversity in Malaysia is one of the most exciting taxa to study. It's not only because they are beautiful, they are not only because they are fragrant, because they are orchids that plays an important role in ecology, in the ecosystem. And new discovery of species, new to science and new record to the country is almost certain every time you go to the jungle and study them. Inaccessible forested area are now becoming accessible, and many plant collecting activities were conducted in these areas. So that's how the number of orchids found in Terengganu is very high, because we now venture into logging concessionaries to collect our orchids. So therefore, by doing so, we are actually rescuing the orchids from the logging concessionaries, leads to new discoveries and almost guaranteed species conservation, because we collect them out and put them into ex situ this thing. I would like to say thank you to everybody that present here today. Some are the Professor Emeritus, some are my former students, my current students, and some of my co-workers, professors from my faculty and my institute, Prof Ain, and my former boss, Prof Zainal Abidin, Talib, Zat, and everybody that is present here. Pok Teh, thank you very much. Dato Sri Lim, thank you very much for coming. And who else that I see here? Oh, Rizal from the Kementerian Keta, Rizal. And Dr. Wan Juliana, Dr. Haja Maidin, Prof Karen, thank you very much for attending. Prof Gwen, Prof Jega, Dr. Tanot, Dr. Dana from all the way from Sarawak, and Prof Japa, thank you very much for being here, and Prof and Pastor Beulah, who has always been my a prayer for me whenever I go to the jungle, and hopefully that nothing follows me back. But anyway, I'm very privileged, because when I go to the jungle, I see them, so I don't have to be worried about them. So only people who cannot see things, they cannot will be worried, right? But for me, they are just there to be a part of the ecosystem. Okay, to my friend and my BFF, Trisha Nigo from Petronas, and also Sophia, thank you very much for being here. Sebab. And to my brothers and sisters, and my mom, not tindu anandai, that's in Iban language, asking whether she's sleeping or not. Okay, thank you very much everybody for being here. It has been a very long journey, and I thank those people who brought me into UPM. Prof Datin Farida, Pok Teh, thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Rusea for the presentation. I guess the contents of the presentation is very pictorial. You can see lots of pictures. Actually, I was chatting with Professor Basha. I mean, how can actually she remember all the names of the orchids? Yeah. I think orchids is considered as the most beautiful and mysterious plant species, and I think it's good to hear that we have recorded many species as well, and it is her privilege in her own area to determine who's going to get the name of the new species, which in my case I don't have that privilege in my area to give new names. And I think from her presentation as well, we able to see how important it is to preserve areas and new species in the areas that we human do logging and explore. And I do really hope that this will inspire all of us to do the same within our own area. And I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Professor Rusea for her excellence and involvement in teaching, research, and etc. And let's join me to give her a round of applause. Lastly, congratulations again to Professor Rusea for completing her inaugural lecture. And we hope for the best, and we hope that she will find many more species, and maybe in the future there will be like Iqbalia or something. So I hope that to see all of you in the next inaugural lecture. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Thank you Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Muhammad Iqbal Saripan for chairing the event. And thank you Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Rusea for sharing her life work and research on fascinating Malaysian orchids. We wish all the best for Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Rusea. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, it marks the end of our session today. We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude and appreciation to everyone with us today for the support and contribution in making this event a great success. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to invite Yang Berbahagia Professor Dr. Muhammad Iqbal Saripan and Faculty Management to the mini exhibition and lunch at the foyer. We would also like to invite other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to the foyer for lunch. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you in our upcoming events. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
La 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 la